The rancher leaned against the corral fence, boots sunk in the dirt, hat tilted against the afternoon sun. He had seen cattle drives, gunfights, and storms tear through the plains, but he had never seen anything like the young Apache Maiden who rode up that day. She was no more than 20, her long braids whipping in the wind, her eyes sharp as steel. With her chin high, she declared, "I ride harder than any of your men." The cowhands burst out laughing. The rancher smirked too, but his smirk died when he saw the fire burning in her gaze. The men teased, betting bottles of whiskey she wouldn't last a mile on the wild mustang roped in the corral. The animal was notorious, a beast that had thrown off every cowboy who dared climb its back. Yet the maiden walked toward it without hesitation. The rancher folded his arms, curious. Her small frame contrasted against the muscle of the mustang, but she moved with a confidence born from generations of warriors. Her hands were steady, her voice low, as she whispered words in her native tongue. The horse's ears flicked, as if it understood. The laughter quieted. When she swung herself into the saddle, the corral erupted. The mustang reared, hooves slicing the air, dust flying. Every cowboy had bet on her crashing into the dirt. The rancher, arms crossed, waited for her to fall, but she didn't. She clung to the beast like water clings to stone, her back straight, her grip unyielding. She rode the storm of muscle and fury. Minutes passed like hours. The rancher's smirk faded, replaced with disbelief. When the horse finally broke into a run, she rode it clean, hair flying, the image of defiance. Silence crushed the corral. The maiden returned with the mustang under her command, sweat shining on both rider and horse. She slid off effortlessly, planting her feet in the dust, her expression calm as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. The cowhands stared, mouths hanging open. The rancher lifted his hat, scratching his head, unsure whether to scold his men for underestimating her or himself for doing the same. She walked up to him, eyes unblinking, voice steady. "Still think. Your men ride harder?" she asked. He didn't answer, for he had no words. In that moment, respect, forged not by tradition but by proof, was born. That night, the rancher sat alone on his porch, watching the plains stretch endlessly beneath a sky of stars. He replayed the scene in his mind, the defiance in her voice, the fearlessness in her actions. His men still talked about it around the fire, some with awe, some with resentment. For the rancher, it was more than spectacle. It was a challenge to everything he thought he knew. In the 1800s, women weren't meant to outdo men in such feats. Yet she had done it effortlessly. His heart, hardened by years of solitude, felt the first crack of admiration. The maiden returned the next day, her younger brother trailing behind her, curious and wide-eyed. She offered no explanation, only asked for work. The rancher hesitated, but something in her pride wouldn't let him refuse. He set her to ride fence lines with the men, expecting her to tire or falter. Instead, she outlasted them all. She rode dawn to dusk without complaint, her braids dust-streaked, her hands calloused yet steady. The men muttered under their breath, some bitter, some quietly impressed. The rancher watched it unfold, torn between amusement and awe. Day by day, disbelief turned into reluctant admiration. One evening, when the cattle broke through a section of fence, chaos thundered across the valley. The herd stampeded, hooves like thunder rolling over the earth. Men shouted, horses bucked, and danger filled the air. In the frenzy, it was the maiden who charged forward. She rode bareback, weaving through the stampede, her voice carrying like a command. The cattle slowed, turned, and obeyed as if they knew her. The rancher sat frozen, watching her silhouette against the storm of beasts, realizing she wasn't just brave, she was born for this land in a way he never was. After the herd calmed, the men approached her, their faces marked with a respect none had expected to feel. Even the loudest doubters fell silent. The rancher dismounted, his boots crunching over trampled earth. "You saved half my herd," he said quietly. She only shrugged. "I did what needed to be done." Her simplicity struck him deeper than any boast. Pride wasn't her goal. Survival was, and in her world, survival wasn't about proving yourself. It was about knowing who you were and standing firm in it. That lesson lingered in him long after the herd returned to calm pastures. Winter crept across the plains, bitter and unrelenting. Snow buried the valley, and the ranch became a prison of ice. Men grew restless, supplies thinned, and tempers frayed. Yet the maiden never faltered. She chopped wood, rode through blizzards to gather strays, and mended leather by the firelight. Her brother laughed again, his cheeks red from cold, but his spirit brightened by her care. The rancher found himself drawn to the warmth she carried, a flame that never wavered against the storm. Each night, as snow pounded the cabin, he watched her in silence, knowing she had thawed more than winter. It was during one such storm, when wind howled like wolves across the land, that the rancher finally spoke his heart. He had built his life on silence, on solitude, on strength without tenderness. Yet here was this young woman, proving with every breath that strength could also be kindness, that defiance could also be beauty. He sat across the fire, hat in his hands, voice low. "I underestimated you," he admitted. She met his gaze, her eyes steady, no triumph, only truth. "You're not the first," she said softly. In that moment, the rancher's disbelief turned into devotion.